Okay, I haven't made a video in a little while. I don't think I have any videos online of this particular rifle that I acquired. What it is a Remington model 788, and the caliber is 22-250, and it's a nice little caliber for varmint or for bench rest targeting. And I'll show you the cartridge. Got a lot of bang for the buck here, you know. I mean, look at the bullet, you know. These are polymer tips, Winchester, and they're rapid expansion. So, you know, if you're living out in Midwest and you got some prairie dog hassle out there, these guys right here will do the job. I heard a lot of good about these in the 22-250. Can't really see it. Let me see if I can focus it in. There you go. So you can see the polymer tip on it. Kind of looks like a beefy 223 with a hell of a lot more gunpowder in it than a 223. So that's one thing about having these small tip bullets, and that's why they designed the 223 like that, is because when it hits somebody, especially during a military action, if it hits you here or hits you in the stomach, what it does, it spins, so that instead of going through you like say you shot somebody with a 44 or, you know, a 500 or something, of course you're going to get a hole that big, and then, you know, it's going to come out like that big in the back. So what this is designed for is when it hits, it'll spin you and then just devastate you inside. If it hits you in the stomach, it'll tear your linings up and stuff like that, because it travels throughout the body. That's basically what they were designed on the smaller tip bullets. So, but anyhow, going back to the rifle. This rifle is a bench rest target, and again, it's a what are the Remington model 788. Okay, and then I don't know if anybody knows, right here on the end of the barrel, you could tell when your rifle was manufactured. A lot of people think it's a serial number, but it's not. So any Remington that you own, see there's that letter K, and then there's a W. Well, those two letters are the month is the K, and the W is the year. Can't remember the month. It might have been February, and then W I think was 1972. I think. I don't know. I get mixed up on some of my rifles I have. Could even be a little early. No, I think it was 1972. So this is a heavy barrel, as you can see here. A lot of people have mixed feelings on these heavy barrels, and they're a little confused if they were manufactured, you know, by Remington themselves. Some of them were. Sorry about the video. I'm trying to focus in. There's the 22-250 Remington. This camera sucks, you know. Yeah, I don't know. Can't get it. But anyhow, this is 18.5 inches. Okay, 18.5 inch barrel. And again, it's for bench rest targeting. Does have a Timney trigger that was installed. I think it's 2 pound on this, so it's a very, very light trigger, especially with the 22-250. Really puts out a punch, and, you know, with the heavy barrel, I mean, like I said, I don't know if it was ever cut. I mean, if you look at the end here, might have been cut, but on the other hand, it could have been from the factory. They called them bull barrels back then. But in this caliber, a lot of people are saying it never came from the factory, but they're not 100% sure. if this came from the factory. Okay. That, of course, is for the front of the scope. The scope rail right here. So anyhow, going back, so this had a Lyman Super Target Spot, Super Target Spot scope. Beautiful condition, as you can see. It's a 20 by 20. Let me turn it around. Even has the caps for the ends on both ends. Okay, the aluminum caps. Wish this camera was better, but it's in really good shape. Very, very minor marks on this. I'm not quite sure when this was made. I mean, they were made from, I think, 1930s, mid 1930s up until the 60s. So this could be 40s to 60s. Not really anybody out there is telling you about when they were made, like if you give the serial number and stuff. A lot of times with the serial number, it has a has the number 1 in front of the serial numbers. Like say if you have like a 6535 serial number, and a lot of them will have like 16535 or some sort. Well, the one they're saying that could be military grade. I don't know, it's a rumor that it was manufactured for the military, but a lot of them were stamped the military, like United States Marine Corps, USMC. But that is a rumor if it has a 1 in front of the serial number. Don't know if that's right or not. But these have really gone up a lot of money. Like in this condition, I don't know, they go anywhere from $400 to $900. And if I had the box, I think I do have the box actually. So the box will put it up there into anywhere from $800 to $1,300, I think, from last time I saw, especially in this condition. And the optics are unbelievable. I mean, the optics on this is like so clear. So you unscrew these end caps, okay, and the optics on this is just unbelievable. That's why they love them. People love them because of the optics and the glass. They were just made so well. And you know, you can't get them anymore. And now if you do, you have to pay out of your butt, you know. But they're just awesome. And this one is in unbelievable condition. The crosshairs are set just right. So everything is set right on this one. Well, for this rifle anyhow. So you're dead on, very accurate. You know, like I said, if you had any varmints or anything, this will take care of them. So I'm gonna leave these off right now so I don't strip in there, you know what I'm saying? Now, as you can see, there's the stock. Of course, I just shined it up a little bit, but not much. This is all original. Okay. Beautiful stock, beautiful condition. I have all the other parts, you know, the plate and everything, magazine plate, trigger guard and everything. A couple little minor marks. I mean, very, very little minor marks. There's one right there, a little dab. Little dimple, I call it. You know, there's the original butt plate, Remington. Okay. These weren't the best little rifles back then as far as cosmetics is concerned, but mechanical, they were 100% dead on. Very, very accurate. They came in many, many different calibers. 44 is rare. Came in 30-30, 30-06, I believe. 223, 308, which is very common, is 308. The 22-250, they're kind of rare. I mean, there's some out there now that are up for sale, but I think these rifles, you know, they did come out with carbine models, and I think they're going anywhere from 400 and up. But, you know, if you buy one, you're getting it for the mechanical, because they're really, really good. So I guess you could classify this as a carbine, 18.5-inch barrel, but Again, I'm not quite sure. It looks like the factory. I don't know. If it wasn't, it was a very good gunsmith that cut this barrel down, but I don't think so. I think this is an original 18.5-inch barrel. I could be wrong. Like I said, it's a definitely heavy barrel, but as you can see, there's no screw for the front sight. It was just made for bench rest target. So I don't know. It's possible. Could have been customized. A lot of people did a lot of different things to their Model 788s and through the years, and it could be. So now everybody puts one of these triggers on, you know, the Timney triggers. I think they come 2, 3, and 4 pound. Actually, I still got to push that little pin in because I cleaned all this trigger up. And one of the things on these triggers is that they jam up, or I don't mean jam up, but they freeze up. So if you get one of these Remingtons, first thing you got to do is learn how to work on them, clean them up really good. And even all the bluing is good on this one, see? There's no wear on this gun, except underneath, of course, where the stock was. But other than that, it's really good shape in the bluing. You got to really clean these triggers, so they gum up, and especially the older. Now here's the original trigger right here. Okay, so there's the original from the factory, and as you can see, it's slightly different than the Timney trigger. I mean, of course, and the safety is completely different. The safety lever. So one of these, you know, as soon as you bring the bolt back, of course, you know, you bring your safety back, and then that's when you push it to fire. And being that this is a now there's nothing in there, as you can see. Well, you can't see, but guarantee there's no cartridges in there. So push it forward with the safety lever. And this is again the Timney with, I think it's 2 pound. And watch how light this is. See how light that is? I hardly even pushed that trigger. So watch this. Look at that, unbelievable. That's why everybody puts these triggers on. You know, they're great. Try it one more time for you, and look at this. Watch. Oh, hold on. See, very, very little. I wish I had a tester. I would show you what the pounds is. But other than that, if you know how to take them apart, well, not the new ones if you buy, but the old one. If you know how to take these apart, which is not that hard, really isn't. You have to clean all this up, put it in paint thinner or something, or turpentine. Let it sit for a few hours. Really scrub those parts. I mean, you could see some. They used to put grease, and the grease just totally ruined them. So they would just freeze up. I could move the safety. Okay, I could definitely move the safety and the bolt stop right there. There's your bolt stop, but it you know, it just freezes up. Everything just freezes up on it. But I can't move the trigger. This one doesn't work. So if I put this in the receiver back there, this particular trigger doesn't work because it's totally frozen up. And then see if I could get the oh, here it is. So what happens is your sear, there's your sear right here. See the sear? I can't even move the sear. I mean the sear, now I gotta be careful because it's that spring right there, your trigger spring. But this sear is just like glued almost. And as you can see, where is it here? There is a lot of grease on here. Look at that. See if I can scrape some off. Look at that. See that on that screwdriver? Look at all that grease. Isn't that incredible? So everything is just greased up. And you got to take this piece by piece. See, I'm just scraping the side of the sear right now. Scrape it up. probably work better after I scrape it, right? Look at all that. See on top of that screwdriver right there? Kind of like a boogie. So that's what happens. And then of course, there's your spring. Right there. Again, I don't want to lose it. Because these things, I think like $6-8. There you go. That needs to be cleaned too, and all down in there, you know. But this thing is like, look at that. I can hardly move that by hand. Okay, but you got to take all this apart. You got to take the bolt stop and your safety plungers right here. See the safety plunger? Now there's a small spring, of course, in that safety plunger. So when you use your side safety lever here, see when you move it, see that? And then you're, whoops. Let me see if you can see it. Right there. See how the safety plunger pops out like that? So if you take this apart, make sure you don't lose any of these parts, because if you do, they're going to cost you some money for one. Number two, you might not be able to get them, especially for your caliber rifle. Especially like this little locking nut right there. See that little locking nut for your safety lever there? But trigger is very simple. You know, you just take it out right there. See the pin? That pin right there, you pop out. Take your safety lever out first. Careful your plunger, because your plunger has that little spring and it's right behind that indent right there on your safety lever. See that? And then careful, like I said, with that little spring, make sure you don't pops right out, and then you'll be able to buy one of them. And as soon as you hit that pin out, your trigger will come down, and pretty much that's it. I mean, don't touch any of these. Your not adjustment. This is to make your when you put it in the receiver. This is just your tapping screw right here. That just touches your bottom of your receiver frame, and that's it. So it kind of makes everything tighter. So when you pin this, the actual pin for the to connect to your receiver is right here. See where that screwdriver is? So you actually put your pin right through there, and there's a little nub on the receiver that goes through the hole and then out almost towards the other end here. So, like right there. But, like I said, just be careful of the little springs. You know, you got a spring in here with your bolt stop. And like I said, just take all that apart. Make sure you take, best thing to do is take pictures before, during, and after. And then you won't have a problem. And then, I wouldn't oil it up at all, because if you oil it up, unless you use some type of special non-caking oil and oil that gets dirt, like a dry oil or something, like dry spray, or I don't know. I was told not to oil these up, so I think a little dab here and there, like your safety, maybe a little dab on the springs wouldn't hurt. But again, they're so tight in there. When you have this trigger housing, everything's so tight and there's no room to move, you know. So these triggers are a lot different than other triggers, like in a Marlin or I'm saying a Winchester or a what's the other one? I don't know, can't think of it right now. But all right, so as you can see, again, a little different. Not much, but better trigger, of course. And best thing about this rifle, of course, would be the scope. You know, that would be the scope. And when this is all together, because I mean, I could show you how to take it all apart and put it all back together and what it looks like. Not sure if a lot of you know how to do that, but it's really not that hard. You know, you have. This is your plate and your trigger guard, and say this is on your stock. Okay, like that. You have 3 screws. You know, you have your one little screw here that holds it onto the wood. Then you got your back screw, holds it onto the receiver. And then your front screw on the receiver. So, and then once you take those screws off, this trigger guard is actually hooked in the front. There's like a little hinge in it right there. So just goes into that little hole there, and you know, and that's when you bring it back, and then you put your screw back on. But you could see how nice that trigger guard is, and the plate. That's still really nice bluing. But again, it's not a complete finish like say if you bought I don't know, a Winchester Model 70 or some sort. You know how nice they are. The wood's all nice and checkered, and you know, maybe this plate I think is recessed a little bit into the wood. Everything's more perfected. This more is a working man's rifle. So, you know, and as you can see with the wood, you know, where the bolt cutout is, you know, it's not perfected. So, I mean, look at the square cut. Kind of looks like 101 shop class in 8th grade, you know, that I did this. So, and you can see, I just zipped it along real fast. Now, I'm not sure what kind of wood. This might be walnut. Doesn't look like it, though. I don't know. No, I don't think it's walnut. See the grain? They used a lot of hardwoods. Birch, could be birch. And, because, you know, you're going for less money, you know, you're not going to spend, you know, $1,000 on this rifle back in the mid-60s, 70s, you know. So, I think they were like $80 or something back then. But these go for a pretty penny now because people know they're really good and they're well made and they work. But the only thing is, you gotta clean these triggers. Gotta clean them. And you can still get the springs. You get the trigger spring. I think they're like $6-8. Make sure you get one online. Get a few of them, you know, and you'll have them on hand. Get all those little parts, you know, just in case. And the bolt, don't ever lose the bolt. I looked on eBay. These bolts are going for like $500 almost. So you don't want to ever lose this bolt. You lose that bolt, I'm telling you, you're going to pay out of your butt for one. So a lot of people had problems with the bolt handles breaking. I don't know, this one's in really good shape. I don't think it's been shot that much, but I think it was just taken care of, you know. But they would break, and but it's a 9 lug position, so it's really good on the rear, not like your front, you know, locking lug. So there you go. And then of course I have the magazine guide that goes in that hole there. That's just like a little L-bend piece of metal, L shape, and it just sits back in here on this little recess, and then, you know, with a screw, and then your magazine goes up through it and it locks in. So, all right, there you go. Again, don't lose that bolt. And there you go. And that's all I could say about it. They come in different, I think 22 inch, 24 inch maybe. Like I said, this one's 18.5. Okay? All right. See you later.